Hi, this is Dr. K. Rajendra Prasad. I am working as professor and head for the departments of CAC, data science, and cybersecurity. Today, my topic is context-free grammar. So, we have to see that the grammar is very important when you come to the language definition. Without the grammatical rules, I think we cannot formulate any particular language. So, the basic idea of the grammar is it can be formed with the help of four tuples. These tuples are set of variables, set of terminals, set of productions, and starting symbol. Here, these four tuples are very important in defining the grammar. The grammar have some various types, but among that, we are using the specific grammar for designing of some particular automata, finite automata, for simulating the automata, so that we can accepting the some kind of language called as context-free language. Means so why it is called as context-free? It is very important. So come to the context-free point of view. On we have defining any particular variable in the tool, the grammar tool, or in the grammar production. There are no left context and right context. So there is no left and right context in the grammar rule, maybe for some of the variables. So then it is totally called as context free. So context free nothing but we cannot define any left context, also right context. For example, I am showing the rule is like this. Here, this for left context is totally for empty. Right context is also empty. So this is the basic idea of context free. So context free nothing but what the basic idea is no left context or no right context. This is the idea of context free. No left context and also no right context. Then that kind of grammar rule is called as context free rule. Whenever the grammar having such type of context free productions, then that is called as context free grammar. Now today our discussion is regarding to the context free grammar. So as per the formal definition of the context free grammar, so what is the definition of but context free grammar which consisting of terminals, non-terminals, and also starting symbol, and every production is implies A implies alpha. This indicates that the particular scenario is A implies this kind of alpha. When you define any symbols with Greek letters, it's called as Greek letters. So what are the other Greek letters? Alpha, beta, gamma. When you define the Greek letters, that indicates here this example is alpha. It indicates some combination of terminals and also non-terminals. Combination of T is nothing but T refer to the terminus and non-terminus. This being to the alpha. Means in the grammar production, mainly you are looking for, I think, you are taking any grammar rule, there is no left and right context for the left side variable and right side thing. Means when define the A implies alpha. Nothing but here this part is the left context, this part is right context. So it also consisting of null value, there also null value. Means no left context, no right context. That is the major idea of context free. So means here I am giving some other examples which are not context free. Because of you want to know with the left and right context ideas. That case I am taking some other examples for explaining about which are not context free. So here I'm showing the which are not context trees. Here you're taking some grammar rules like this. This is a grammar rule. So here this called as the left context. This idea is called as the left context. So small b is the idea of right context. Means in this example, you know the idea about what are the left and right context values. Sir. Come to the A point of view. So this small a is left context of capital A, small b is right context of capital A. Here also we have to see that A derives what? A derives BC. So in the place of A that can be replaced by what the some string is, substring is capital B and capital C. For the capital B and capital C, for that you should observe that the context values are set. Whatever context we have to received in the left side of the production, the same uh, context A is the left context and right context is B. We also B, we have to check it. So means here left and right contexts are common on both the left hand side and the right hand side of the rule. So this I think this production, okay, which is not context free grammar production, which is not a context free grammar production because of it has some left and right context. Then so what is the appropriate idea for context free grammar is? So in the context free grammar, you should to formulate some set of productions which are having the format is exactly for without without taking any left and right context values. So here I am taking the example is like this: A implies alpha. So what the left context is null value, right context also null value. Here come to the A is I think substituted with another value is alpha only. For alpha point of also, here left context is null value, right context also null value. Means I think there is no left and right context for the verb is capital A. So that is we have to observing in the case of context free grammar production. Means any production that can be in the form of A implies alpha. It indicates that specifically there is no left and right context values of capital A. So then that is the idea of context free grammar. So the same thing is described in the formal definition. Context free grammar is nothing but which consisting of terminals is have some terminals. It may be happen on the right side of the production. I'll show in the coming slides. And how is the non-terminus? These are appeared. Non-terminus are appeared left and right side of the production. And you should start somewhere with some starting position. In the starting position, you have taken the some starting symbol. It's called as a start symbol. And every production is in the form of exactly A implies the alpha. So that is described here in the formal definition of context free grammar. And so here I'm showing the remaining other steps in the context free grammar is terminals or the basic symbols of the formal strings. Yes. So yeah, you should take some terminals. There are no further expansion of that particular symbols. Those are called as the terminals only. I'll show some examples of what are the terminals, what are the non-terminals, what is the difference. Okay, how can you identify whether the given symbol is terminal or non-terminal? I will give that idea also. And non-terminals are the syntactic variables. Means it denotes the set of strings. Means any symbol that have some kind of derivation for defining the some string, then the particular symbol is called as a non-terminal. And a starting symbol that should be non-terminal, and it is that should be mentioned in the starting portion of the grammar. Because of grammar nothing but it may have the several number of productions. Among that, we should identify, so what is the starting position. In the starting position, what is the starting symbol is. That's very important. So this I think the major idea of context-free grammar. So you have to see the example, relevant example of the context-free grammar is I given here. So this denotes, this example denotes, so basically it's support for what kind of grammar is you want to perform any arithmetic operations, or you want to describe any arithmetic expressions. In that case, you should take this kind of context free grammar. So I am describing this example for what purpose? Nothing but supporting of basic arithmetic expressions. So as per that, we have to check it. The first production is what the first production is. Expression becomes the expression plus term. Means here, what are the terminals or the non-terminals? So in this case, I should classify the terminals are. What are the terminals in this production? The terminals only for the symbol is plus. What are non-terminals? What are the non-terminals of this production is? Non-terminals are totally no two non-terminals in this production. One name of the non-terminal is expression, and another name of the non-terminal is term. So it is the idea of regarding to the terminals and the non-terminals. You go for the this is the first production. You go for the second production. Here, what are the terminals? The terminals is some operations, different operations. You are taking the particular symbol is minus, and non-terminals is same. What you received in the first statement. Okay, also you assume the same non-terminals. This called as expression, and also as well as a term, as well as a term. So this is the idea of second. So for the third production point of view, I think terminals are empty, no terminals, because of it gives the idea is expression is implies term, but it have the two non-terminals that is called as expression and also as well as term. So we come to the fourth production point of view. So simply, I need not write this thing because already got the idea for distinguish the total for two things, terminals and non-terminals. I will explain directly for. So for the fourth production, what the terminals is asterisk symbol. What the non-terminals is term, comma, factor. These are the non-terminals. So like that, you can go for distinguish for the symbols you obtained for each and every production. Okay, you can describe. So what are the each one is? Each one is called as a rule or grammar rule. It is also called as grammar production. Grammar production. So we therefore for total for how many number of grammar rules I am taking total for 8 number of grammar rules. So by using these 8 grammar rules, finally describing what nothing but the syntax of arithmetic expression. Means basically in the compiler design, we have to see that the first phase is becomes what the important thing is we are describing the lexical analyzer. After that, you are taking the some tokens from the sequence of tokens, sequence of valid tokens received from the lexical analyzer. Then you have to pass to the next phase is syntax analyzer. In the syntax analyzer, you required some grammar. As per the grammar, you can arrange all sequence of tokens according to the substructure of the grammar. That structure is given by these grammar productions. So that is the advantage of context-free grammar. And one more thing is notational conventions of context-free grammar. What are the notational conventions? You are using most frequently the notational conventions, nothing but you are taking the two are very important in the context-free grammar, terminals and also non-terminals. Generally, what kind of symbols you are recommending for describing the terminals? Here, in that case, I am taking the statement is these symbols are considered as the terminals. What are the symbols are? All small case letters and operator symbols and different punctuation symbols like parentheses, commas, so on is also considered as terminals only, and digits the between 0 to 9, and boldface strings is called as ID for describe the identifier. Some keywords like if keyword for do while like the subtract union, these are different keywords which also considered as terminal symbols. And come to the second classification of the symbols are non-terminals. The previous is the terminals, present is so what are the I think the different notational conventions you are using for describing the non-terminals. So for this case, I am taking the uppercase letters. Generally, you are describing for the purpose of non-terminals in the grammar rules. These are the examples, and so you have to define some starting symbols also. It must be non-terminal, and some case of lowercase and italic names like expression. Previously, I given some example statement, empty statement. That case also come to under the non-terminals. And sometimes we are describing the expressions with a single letter only, capital E, term that can be defined as a capital T, and factor that can be defined as a capital F. And instead of taking the entire names of expressions, terms, and factors, we use only for single variables only or single non-terminals only that can be described. So these are the notational conventions for describing the non-terminals. And one more thing is all uppercase letters. What describing is representing the grammar symbol. That is, I think we use either non-terminus or terminus. But I will give you some clarity. So which are exactly considered as a terminal, which are exactly considered as a non-terminus. I will give the ideas. And lowercase letters, small u, small v, so and so, small z. These kind of lowercase letters that can be exclusively used for describing the terminus. And lowercase Greek letters alpha, beta, gamma that can be describing the for both combinations of terminus and non-terminus. Simply, terminus is symbol generally we use small case letters in the alphabets, or sometimes you are taking the operators. Okay, these are generally we can use for the terminus. And non-terminals are nothing but capital letters like capital A, capital B, like that. Some statements, and some other thing is we have taken the some expression statements like expr, htmt. Okay, these kind of statements is the non-terminals, and starting symbol this also becomes non-terminal, and sometimes the Greek letters is the alpha, beta, gamma. Okay, that can be described with the combinations of terminals and also non-terminals, including a null symbol also. So these are the different notational conventions we are taking. Summaries. Finally, what is the notation format of describing the context-free grammar production? So earlier, I'm taking the simple idea is A implies alpha. So this is called as context-free grammar production. This is called as context-free grammar production. In such a way that we are taking the similar patterns A implies alpha 1, A implies alpha 2, so on and so on, A implies alpha k with a common head, capital A, that k may be written as like this. Means here I want to define like A implies B, capital B, capital C. This is alpha 1 I am assuming. A implies D and E is alpha 2. You can, instead of representing the two different productions, you can make use of another alternative idea is A implies BC is the alternative symbol, slash symbol, and D. The meaning is here two productions are there. Okay, you can write this kind of representation A implies BC slash DA or you can write separately also. A plus B is first production, A plus D is the second production. So means say common variable that describing different strings. Common variable that describing the different strings. What the strings are here? Alpha 1, alpha 2, so and so alpha k. Such case, we can write A is becomes alpha 1, alpha 2, so on alpha k. Means so there is a common variable for different strings. There is common variable for different strings. Alpha 1 is one string, alpha 2 is another string, alpha k is one more string for common variable. You can use some combined notation. A implies alpha 1 slash alpha 2 so and so slash alpha k. Or you can write separately also. A implies alpha 1 separately, A implies alpha 2 and so A implies alpha k. So this kind of notation convention of particular set of productions we are recommending in the context-free grammar. So these are the ideas for describing terminus, non-terminus, productions, and alternative nothing but there is some common variable for describing the some different strings. That case, what the notation convention of the CMC we are using. So these are the ideas regarding to the context-free grammar. Means here we discussed. So what is the definition of the context-free grammar? So how can you distinguish the symbols of terminus and non-terminus? And what are the notational conventions you are recommending for describing the tuples of context-free grammar? The tuples nothing but in terms of variables, non-terminus, starting symbol, and also productions. So now I want to show some more idea for differentiating which symbol exactly you called as terminus and which are called as non-terminus. So for that, I will give you some simple idea. You are taking the any symbol in the real world, the symbol having some derivation, then it is considered the particular symbol is considered as I think non-terminal. Suppose there is no derivation for the symbol, then the symbol is called as a terminal. I will show some examples. A implies B and C. B implies C under small d. C implies null value. Here, what symbols have the derivations? A having the derivation. What the derivation value is? Which is BC. Okay. B have the derivation. So it derives what the string is capital C and small d. And C also have the derivation. That value is a null value. And here we have taken the totally for how many different symbols there? A, B, C, and also small d. So among these four different symbols, only for these three have the derivations. Okay, so that's fine. So the symbols, which symbol has the derivation, you can find out. Then that symbol is considered as a non-terminal. Now these are the non-terminals. What symbols are? A, B, C have the A, B, C are considered the non-terminals because of these are have the derivations. A has the derivation of BC, B capital B has the derivation of capital C small d, and capital C has the derivation of a null value. So therefore, these variables, these three variables in this specific grammar, you are considered as a non-terminals because of they have the derivations. And D is so I think for D there is no production. There is no production. D cannot derive anything. That's fine. D is considered as the terminals. Now we have the clarity. What is the terminals and what are the non-terminals? Whatever symbols I think you recognized, that is, you recognize they have the derivations. Those symbols are considered as the non-terminals. And you recognize the symbols. Some of the symbols they do not have the any specific derivations. Then that is called as a terminus only. In such way that you distinguish in the given grammar which symbols are comes under the terminus and which are comes under the non-terminus. So I will give the example for distinguishing the symbols of terminals and non-terminals. Here I am showing clearly E has the derivations. How many derivations? One, two, three. Three derivations. Surely that I think E is a non-terminal. E is a non-terminals. Okay, because E has the derivation. What of the T is? T also has derivations. T into F, T, F, and F. T also has a derivation. So T is also non-terminal. What the F is? F has the derivation. Okay, what derivation is? Derivation 1, derivation 2. So that's why these three symbols have derivations. That's why these three symbols in this grammar you consider as a non-terminals. What the terminals are? Plus, you can check plus. Plus implies anything is there? No. Plus symbol, they don't have any derivation. Star symbol, they don't have any derivation. And you can slash symbol, here slash is there, no? There is no derivation. Okay. And one more is the fancy symbol is also how there's no derivation. And the close fancies, there's no derivation. And the ID, even ID, any derivation? No, there's no derivation. Means so finally you can concluding that which are have the derivations are only for few symbols only. Three symbols in this graph. Okay, these three symbols are called as E, T, and F. That's why the variables in this grammar is E, T, F. This is also called as a variable, or another term is non-terminal. The meanings are same. Here we can call as a variable or non-terminal. So why you consider these three are the non-terminals or variables? Because of these three have the derivations. So which are terminals are? Whatever symbols I think you found that they do not have any derivations. Okay, those are called as the terminals. So which are not having derivations? There's no derivation, minus no derivation, slash symbol no derivation, and left parenthesis there's no derivation, right parenthesis also no derivation, and finally identifier ID is also no derivation. This is considered as terminals. What the productions are? Many productions you can define. You can write sequentially. It's very easy process. So from the question, we find the production separately. E implies E plus T is one production, and one more production is E implies E minus T. Write separately. The slash is another alternative, no? And E implies T, and T implies T star F. Like that, write all set of productions. What a starting symbol is? Starting symbol is in the starting production, you started with what the variable is. That's called as a starting symbol is E. So finally, you can conclude in grammar nothing but is the idea of set of variables. This given, set of terminals is also given, and the set of productions is also given, and the starting symbol is E. Starting symbol is E. So this is the idea of context free grammar and also the relevant example. So these are the exercises. Okay, you can find the context free grammar. You're finding an even number of zeros. You can try to formulating what are the language strings you are getting, like this one 0 0 and 4 zeros. It means you try to imagine first what the language strings. For that you find the corresponding grammar productions. Corresponding grammar productions. Such way that you should solve the first questions. The second is the set of strings of zeros and ones that are polyntops. Means you have the idea of polynomial. Okay, reverse of that string that should be same. You take 0 1 0. Can also reversely the same meaning 0 1 0. And the third question is the set of strings consisting of zeros and ones with equal number of zeros and ones. Means in the real world you take any string with a combination of zeros and ones, there should be the counting point of view we have the equal number of zeros and ones. For example is 0 0 1 1 0 1 0 1. You count here 2 zeros 2 ones, here also 2 zeros 2 ones. So yeah, this I think language idea. So if you have the language idea, language things, from that you can find out what the corresponding grammar productions. So I think I referred the textbook is How and Woolman, Complex Principles, Techniques and Tools. Okay, this is the prescribed book I referred uh, about the today class, and with this I'm concluding what the formal definition of the grammar is. So, what is the understanding of terminus and non-terminus? How can you distinguish the symbols of terminus and non-terminus? And then, what is the format of the set of production? What is the format of production for the context-free grammar? And how can you describe the entire grammar definition? Which are the relevant examples that is covered today, class. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.